I disagree with the conversation surrounding the woman who was hit by a brick. I just disagree with the entire conversation. I usually like to take notes and so I can have something referred to and I'm going to tell you what I think about the entire thing. But I want to speak from the heart on this. The entire conversation was trash. Now, for some of you guys who are like, what? The woman who was hit by a brick? See, I'm going to show you. I'm going to give you some context about what I'm talking about. But if you already know what I'm talking about, I believe that more than her was hit with the brick. I believe that once she was hit with the brick, I think it impacted her life forever. I think that it opened up a conversation and it unraveled some things that really it was like the whole black diaspora was hit with a brick. And I'll explain why I say that in this video. I'm going to actually give some advice on what I think we should do better or should have been done so that this conversation won't be as trash as it really was. I mean, let's get into it.
Listen, ShySpeaks, 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 ShySpeaks.
If you did not know, there's a young lady out of Texas, as they say, who came to social media and she said that, matter of fact, let me just show you via video what actually happened here. Let's go.
A viral video has been making its rounds all over social media where a woman is sharing her experience after encountering a man who hit her in the face with a brick for not giving out her phone number. The original video from Roe by Shay was shared online by the Shade Room, Neighborhood Talk, and various other online.
I mean, it's just I'm okay. You know what? Let me try to hold myself together. Let's unpack what she just said. A woman was hit in the face by a brick, as you can see brutally on her face. She says that a young man, a gentleman, asked her for her phone number. She refused, and as a result, there was a confrontation that led to her being hit in the face by a brick. That was not just her only issue. Her qualm was that there were plenty of men, black men, of course, in this case, who didn't do anything. She said they just stood idly by as he hit her and proceeded to leave and all that. And she felt like they were cowards and did not protect her. And so since she talked about that, she was like, this is an example of what she means when she says men, especially our own men, are not protective of us. Even when we see someone else getting out of pocket and harming the women, they don't really do anything. And so, oh my goodness. Let me first go on record and say, I said the conversation around the woman was trash, not what she went through was trash. Like, I actually agree. I don't think that there's any reason why anybody should really be getting hit in the face with the brick, especially a woman by a man. I just think that that's completely out of pocket, completely out of pocket. Like, hold on, it's so out of pocket, I got to make sure it make noise. That out of pocket to me. I mean, seriously. And so the people who were onlookers to that, I also think that they were out of pocket. Now, here's the thing. She took to social media, she posted it, and so because of that, social media and several other media outlets ran with this particular story. And it just kind of like, it was almost like the entire black diaspora was hit with a brick because, whew, it led to black women talking about the fact that, I'm sorry, yes, I still happen to have melanated hues, so I feel like I can chime in on this conversation. The women were saying that, see, this is what we're talking about. Like, when it was a guy, a black guy who was being attacked with the whole boat situation and chair situation, I'm sorry, then everybody was jumping to their rescue to try to fight for them. But when it's a woman, it's kind of like, nah, I gotta, shoot, you gotta worry about making it home. Well, nobody was talking about being threatened to make it home when everybody was swinging chairs and so forth and so on. So why are we suddenly talking about, I'm just trying to make sure I make it home at night? I can't be getting into it with somebody just. Are we kind of standing with each other? Or are we not? Are we only standing? Are the guys only standing with the guys and not standing in and protecting the women? I'm just trying to see, and I think that's what the women were trying to say as well. My issue with that, though, while that's a great point, it really is a great point, I think that it split and divide us again. female against male or men against women. You know what I mean? Like, do we really need to continue to be divided on anything? Is there not a way to have a conversation without being divided? And I don't think that the women's intent was to divide. I think they were trying to say, hey, here's an example that we're talking about that says why we're unprotected. Now, Malcolm X has been quoted for saying black women are some of the least protected people in the world, especially in the United States, right? And so this is what you're saying. Still today, this is what's going on. I mean, nobody could have stepped in. Nobody could say, hey, hold on, bro, don't hit her. Or, hey, nobody could have did anything. I mean, you didn't have to get a chair and hit her, but could you just have really did anything? I think this is what they were saying. They weren't trying to divide, just trying to point out something. And then at that point, this is where I feel like the entire conversation just went left. It became trash, in my opinion. And we missed the opportunity because instead of actually taking accountability, like, hey, yeah, bro, we missed the mark on that. We definitely should have did better. What happened was we split and divided amongst ourselves again, where it was, say, black Americans versus black immigrants, who apparently she's Somalian, and apparently the guys in the background had some type of accents that led people to believe that they may be Haitian or of some other descent. And so instead of saying, yeah, like, man, this was bad, they said, well, if this was, melanated Americans versus melanated immigrants, they have a different like, y'all, is this really the right time to be acting like we're not all one the same? Like every other time you want to be like, unified, and let's all be, all together, and we're Afro Caribbean, Afro Dominican, Afro Puerto Rican, Afro Jamaican. Like every, there's this sense of unity that's supposed to be there, but instead of actually being unified and saying, yeah, bros, we gotta do better. They didn't say, well, no, because see, the claim was this. Here's the claim. The claim is that people associate black with black American, right? So you just say a black guy. These black guys did not help me. You're talking about Americans, and so they think we don't want to take responsibility for that, because as soon as somebody do something great, oh, a Nigerian American just invented this, that, and the third, right? A Kenyan American just became a doctoral, whatever. But then when they do something negative, it's like, oh man, this black dude did da da da. And so they're like, no, let's stop putting all the bad stuff over here. I hear what they're saying. I just actually disagree. It's not true. I have one level and layer of proof that I want to present to you that actually just came out today, right? So here is this an article right here on CNN. It says, let's just say T and Shelton make history in the first U.S. Open quarterfinals between two black men. And I don't have to go into it, but you can look at them and clearly see that they are of two totally different somethings, right? But they have something in common, and that is the Afro something. There's some melanin popping, there's some curly hair texture, and so they just know that at this point, these are two they said black men. They didn't get into the specifics. We don't need to start breaking out amongst ourselves and saying this and that and that. No, stop being what you call classes or any of whatever, any type of is and ism that caused you to go into wanting to differentiate. Listen, and I will say I think one of them is Sierra Leonean, right? But the point of the matter here is they say that oftentimes when we just say black sometimes. We do that. I mean, it gets said, and so now that it doesn't matter. Like, bro, like, oh, I was just so irked. Like, it doesn't matter where your boat was dropped off, whether your slave ship was dropped off in America or in the Dominican Republic. The point that she was making was, I am a melanated woman. I am around melanated men, as in these are people who are of my same skin folk, and they sat here and let me be hit. Oh, now, then it moved on further. The conversation didn't just stop there, breaking off amongst the subsects instead of just being one unified people. They went on to talk about how she deserved it. Then the conversation split and divided because they say that oftentimes when a black man faces some type of brutality, When that happens, instead of people addressing that, hey man, that was a bit aggressive, that was overly, it was excessive force, it didn't have to go down that way. What they'll do is begin to pull up that person's history, right? And they say this is what they do. They pull up the person's history, and then they say, hey, you know, he was a criminal, or he's previously said this, or he's held up the middle, like, and they start talking about all these other things that don't have anything to do with the issue at hand, which is all that is fine from 2 and 3 years ago, or 5 and 6 or 10 years ago. But as of this particular act that we're talking about today, was that or was that not excessive? If the answer is yes, can we please move on? And I think what she was trying to say is that, and not just her, I think the conversation that erupted, I think what was trying to be said is that before the conversation erupted into even further uproar and further splitting off and dividing, they pulled up receipts from this young lady of things that she said, things that she had done that would, I guess, disqualify her from being able to speak on this type of matter. That's trash. Like, are you doing the same thing? I know you can't be doing that. I know we're not doing that. I know we're not pulling up previous things to say, like, well, on some months ago, she's done da 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 da. So today, no, 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 no. Let's stick to the point at hand. Listen, all of that was trash because there were several points where there was a division amongst the gender, amongst the ethnicity, or different drop-off points. I'll put it like that. And then there, of course, was this same display of like pulling up her history to prove that she may have deserved it. All of these things happen, in my opinion, to avoid keeping the main thing, and that is to, as a group of people, let's collectively agree and to the fact that this is unacceptable, and we need to be able to be held accountable for not being protectors, especially when it's right here on video in broad daylight. Now, hopefully by now you understand how divisive this entire thing was. No one won, not the woman, and definitely not the entire community. Everybody was hit with the brick. Everybody took L's, especially the gentlemen who were involved with the actual incident. To me, y'all was just complete L's. Now, if you agree with me, I want you to hit the comment section and type, let's do better, right? Now, if you disagree, feel free to also chime in. I'd like to know exactly how you disagree with the fact that this conversation, in my opinion, could have been handled better without splitting and dividing and all that kind of stuff. It could have remained unified, because oftentimes people say that, these people are trying to pit us against each other. Nobody else was involved here. This was happening amongst the entire community by itself. We got to be able to be held accountable within the entire diaspora. Like, let's just be accountable. Man, let's just go ahead and take a response. Hey, we need to do better as a whole, right? It's okay, guys. We can improve. There's always room for improvement. And I want you guys to remember this. This is why this is important to me. I want you to remember that civil conversations start at home. Listen, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.
Listen, ShySpeaks.